Who's screwed? Financial customers. As the Wall Street reform laws go into effect, major banks are already finding loopholes to avoid new regulations. These regulations are aimed at preventing banks from engaging in proprietary trading. It's called prop trading in the industry. Prop trading refers to banks making money on Wall Street strictly for themselves and not for their customers. And today, prop trading is a highly technical business. Take a look at this report about it from 60 Minutes just a few months ago.
It may surprise you to learn that most of the stock trades in the U.S. are no longer being made by human beings, but by robot computers capable of buying and selling thousands of different securities in the time it takes you to blink an eye. These supercomputers, which actually decide which stocks to buy.
Okay, here's the amazing story that I want to share with you. Here's today's Financial Times. This is the leading financial and business, and you might even argue conservative newspaper in the world. What did the leading business newspaper, financial newspaper, conservative, whatever, decide to put on their front page as the lead story today? Regulators back tough rules on bank trade. This is a big deal from their point of view. Study on Volcker approved. Now here's what it has to say. And there's a bookend to this that I have to share with you. It's just mind-boggling. But they say financial regulators recommended tough prescriptions on banks' trading activity on Tuesday in a move that could push lucrative business to hedge funds. They're going to push banks out of this business. They're going to say you can't do this anymore. This was approved by the new Financial Stability Oversight Council. The point of the article is that the banks, some of the banks, were absolutely shocked by this. Oh my God, you're going to regulate us like this? Others were saying, we saw this coming. Morgan Stanley is the latest of several banks to announce a spin-off of proprietary trading divisions. In other words, they're taking this piece of their business and they're just going to run it as a separate business to get around the law, right? The industry had been expecting financial loopholes in the final rules, but they didn't quite get what they wanted. So they're starting these separate businesses. Now, here's the second part of the Financial Times. There's two, it comes in two sections, sometimes three or four, but today it was two sections. The second part is companies and markets. What was the top story on the second section? The Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, that's who is going to be given the job of enforcing these regulators' tough rules, right? It's the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. SEC faces budget crackdown. Lead story. Are you starting to put two and two together here? Let me just share with you what Tom Braithwaite in Washington and Kara Scannell in New York wrote. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is facing a budget squeeze from the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. Are you surprised? Which officials say is hampering efforts to improve its enforcement division. Scott Jarrett, a Republican from New Jersey, who chairs the subcommittee of oversight for the SEC and sits on the budget committee, says he's not in favor of, basically he said, you're not, SEC, we're not going to give you any more money. I mean, literally, no more money. There's new rules, there's new powers, they have a whole new enforcement division, they're asking for a budget, and instead, SEC officials said without investment in the technology, they can't deal with this stuff. They couldn't deal with something like the May flash crash. They missed Madoff's multi-billion-dollar fraud, and they still can't catch it. Meanwhile, due to the funding shortfall, SEC officials cannot even replace the employees who are leaving. So, the Obama administration, tough new rules. We're going to crack down on this stuff. It's like, it's like heroin. We're going to make it illegal because these banks are addicted to it, and it's crashed our economy. And then the Republicans come along and say, you want some heroin? That's fine, because we're going to put the cops to sleep. We're going to cut off their pay. Pretty straightforward. Pretty ugly.